Shit. Hello, people. I am back for another video. Today, we're doing a first time movie I watched today. I'm reviewing the first Conjuring. I remember seeing ads for this. It's just at the time I wasn't into the whole possession stuff, so that's why I didn't watch it. But I gotta say, while I don't think it's as strong as like Insidious, I did like it. I thought Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren and Lorraine was great too. I actually recognize that actress from, I think she was in the first Orphan movie, as the mom. So it was kind of cool seeing her in this. And they're demonologists, and I love the opening with Annabelle, which I'm gonna review those too eventually. Um, I'm gonna do like probably the original two Conjure. I think there's a new one out too. So I think there's three of them. So I probably will just do the main three, and then I'll eventually get to because I know there's like a bunch of spinoffs. There's the Nun movies, and then there's Annabelle. I'll probably flip a coin which one I'm gonna do first. But like I did with Insidious, I am probably just gonna stick to, at least for now, the mainline Conjuring movies, and I think there's three of them. So, because if I remember right, it was either last year or the year before there was one. So, but this one was pretty good. The Perron family were good casted. I actually recognize the mom, Carolyn, from, she was in an X-Files episode. But I think the cast in general was great. It's not as scary as Insidious, I'll admit. There's not I think that it's a bit of a slow burn. Like Insidious, they kind of get to the scares relatively quickly. Yeah, it's a slow. That movie's kind of a slow burn too, but you do get scares throughout. Whereas this, you do, but it's not as the real scares don't really start to towards the end, like when one of the demons attacks the ghost attacks the daughter character, and you just see the daughter just getting fucking thrown around and pulled by her hair. That was crazy. I'll admit, that was out of nowhere. And then obviously the scene where Carolyn's possessed, then she's floating in the chair. Probably gonna be the thumbnail for this video. But yeah, I think Patrick Wilson was great. I love the demonologist aspect. It has a documentary feel to it, and that's why I think it is a bit different than in City. Well, because this is based off a real incident. I haven't looked really into it because I'm just watching these movies now, so I'm kind of just more looking at it as just a movie. And I thought it was good. I think the scares were well done. It didn't rely on jump scares. It had a good atmosphere. I thought the soundtrack was pretty fun because it was in the early 70s. So, and I actually really like the opening. I actually think that's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. I mean, I still like the rest of it, but I really like that opening where they were talking to the girls about what Annabelle actually was and how she actually works, and that she wasn't possessing the doll, but using the doll as a conduit. It was such a good little opening scene. Thought perfectly set the tone of what the movie was gonna be. So, out of 10, I give it a 9. I enjoyed it. I had fun with this one. Definitely would watch it again. I'm interested to see where 2 goes. Hopefully maybe 2 gets a bit scarier, but I liked it. So, that's all I can say. Next Thursday, I'll be doing Conjuring 2. So, tomorrow, like I said, it's still kind of up in the air. Exorcist isn't up yet, so if it's not up by I'm gonna give it till maybe 7 or 8 p.m. at night tomorrow, then we'll just do Maniac Cop. I'm probably gonna still watch it tomorrow regardless. But I mean, unless it's up in the morning or something, then we'll definitively be doing that tomorrow. But it depends. If it's not up by a certain time, I'm giving it till 7 tomorrow. Then I'm gonna, like I said, we'll switch and just do Maniac Cop, and then I'll do Exorcist probably Sunday or Saturday if it's up by Saturday. But as of now, it's gonna be, I guess, just a placeholder for right now. It will be Maniac Cop tomorrow if it's not up by a certain time. But for the time being, I'll just say Maniac Cop. But yeah, and then Saturday I'll figure something to do. But if Exorcist is up tomorrow, we'll be doing that. And I'm hearing a lot of bad shit. And to be fair, some of it I kind of predicted. I had a feeling it was just gonna be too. Try Hard was one I saw. I saw a lot of that. It had no atmosphere, no tone, no suspense, nothing. Basically, all the shit that made the original great, this one didn't have. So, well, let's see. Anyway, let's get into an actual good movie. Hold on. With The Conjuring. So The Conjuring. Like I said, I really love the opening scene where they are telling this family about Annabelle, and it's really quick, and I really like it because I just love the explanation that the Warrens give. It's just such a perfect scene. Like the family's going all into like what's been going on with Annabelle, and I'll admit it's a pretty creepy segment. The doll looks fucked. And this it's set back in 1968 at this point, and they go into what happens, and I just love how casually they're telling these people all the shit's going on. You know, it's just so casual about it. I love it. I love this scene in general. I thought it was a perfect way to set the tone of the movie. So, and it gives it this documentary aspect feel to it too. That's probably why it's a bit different than like Insidious. And I know I'm comparing it to Insidious just because both had Patrick Wilson in it, you know. Insidious was more about this specific families being burdened with these demons, whereas this one, it is kind of about that, but it's almost the Warrens are really the main character. They're kind of how we're seeing this shit. And then yeah, they go to the Perone. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if it's the Perron family or the Perone family. I think Perone sounds right. Family. Um, Carolyn and her husband and their 5 daughters, and they have a pet dog named Sadie. Just weird shit starts happening at their house. The clock always stops at specifically 3:07 a.m. One thing I like about these movies, just all horror movies, a good horror movie, I sometimes like when just this shit kind of just exists. There is no backstory all the time. This thing just kind of exists. And that's it. That we don't really know shit. We know that eventually find out that the entity is named Bathsheba. I could be saying that wrong. I don't actually say Bethesda because it looks like Bethesda, to be honest. But yeah, so the dog ends up getting killed the next morning. Christine, I think is one of the daughters, ends up having bruises. So there's some crazy shit going on, and this is why they call the Warrens. The Warrens arrive, start setting up cameras, and we find out that Clairvoyant. I don't know why I thought Claire. Lorraine is clairvoyant. That's what I was trying to say. So she can sense like demons, entities, and stuff. And I really like that. They go into it, but not too into it, and it is not like some convoluted. And obviously, this is I don't know the actual story. I am gonna say, and I'll probably look it up. Obviously, because I'm gonna be doing the other movies, so I'm gonna definitely look it into it. But it's still. I think it's still. These are still fun movies. If you just kind of grade it as if I'm just grading it as just specifically a horror movie, I think it's pretty good. I can see if you're not. I'm not as jumpy on this type of horror, especially because I think what Insidious was scarier because it had a more raw feel to it. This is like because it has that documentary feel to it a little bit. It doesn't for me feel as scary It just doesn't. I'm just gonna be honest. There are some like scenes though. I feel like if you're a noob, I could see people getting scared by it. Definitely. It didn't really get me like Insidious got me, but it's pretty good. Um, so um, then Carolyn's attacked. This is where we find out more about the entity that originally lived here, and that this house basically has been cursed by Bathsheba, and that several murders and suicides have been going on in this house. I one thing I do like about classic horror, and I mean it's not classic. This movie came out 2013, but I do kind of put it in that a little bit just because it has the atmosphere right, has the music, and it tells the story within like an hour and a half. It doesn't. Horror is the one a genre. Meaning to say that should not go past generally. Like there are exceptions. I watched Stream 2 today. That's in the 2 hour range, but it doesn't feel 2 hours. I feel like it should still, and I'm not one, movies, I can't handle movies that are long. I can't. But it needs to, I feel like horror specifically should really stay in the hour and a half range. Maybe you could push it to hour and 40, and all that. But your standard horror, I think, should be an hour and a half. It doesn't need to be anything longer than that. And I think they did that right here. Granted, you could argue there's a lot of story to tell with this one, so maybe you can go longer, but I'm happy they didn't. I think they kept it I think it's like an hour and a half or maybe a little bit more, hour and 40. I didn't really look because I watched it on HBO Max. But I really did like the scene, and I'm jumping around, but I actually like the scene where um, Ed is talking to the dad. Um, I like it. I thought it was a nice little just back and forth, and this is where Ed reveals what happened with his wife that night when what she saw. You kind of saw a little glimpse. You don't fully get what happens. You just kind of visually see what happens, and it really disturbed her that she doesn't even talk about it anymore. So I remember. I really love it. Then then the demon attacks one of the daughters. I think it attacks like the youngest one. Like that scene was just out of nowhere, man. And like starts throwing her around a little bit. That was fucking crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That was a pretty fucking crazy scene. Then yeah, eventually Bathsheba, but we find out that's where we actually find out the name, and that she cursed basically this house. I know I just said that, but so they have to try to stop her. They try to get an exorcism, sorry, but because the Perones aren't part of the Vatican, or they're not part of the church, they can't get one, and it's not they actually end up catching one of the entities attacking one of the daughters on film, but because it's not deemed worthy enough basically for an exorcism, so they weren't able to get one. So they had to basically later on do their own. So then the demon possesses the mom, Carolyn, and they initially decide to stay at a hotel, but Carolyn lures the daughters back because obviously she's the mom. They don't notice something, obviously that something's up with her. So yeah, then she tries to kill him. The Lorraines and everyone managed to stop her and basically managed to do the exorcism. And this is where we get that scene where she's all tied up on a chair and she has like a thing over her and she's just floating. I love that scene. I think the visual effects are pretty good for that. They, I don't. That's the other thing I like. Horror is a lot of practical locations and practical effects. You're not relying on like crazy special effects. Like maybe sometimes blood effects, but depending on how, sometimes that can be done well, where it's not necessarily noticeable that the blood CGI. But like, yeah, that visual, like the mom floating, was pretty creepy. So Um, but they manage to before Carol, she frees herself. Um, before she manages to attack, they manage to get her like to that special place, kind of distract her long enough for them to finish the exorcism. Demons exorcised. Um, they put in like a music box or something like that, and seemingly destroyed, and everything seems fine. And then the music box starts playing, basically hinting that it's still out there, kind of, that kind of ending. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a nice little flick. I'm gonna still say I'm not really into like the possession, those kind of movies. I'll admit that's still not really my favorite type of horror to watch actively, but I did like this one. If it's well acted and all that, I can enjoy it. Thought it was some good characters. I thought the Perot family were pretty good. The Lorraines were great, and that's why I did like their inclusion in the film, because it did give it that different feel. It didn't just feel like your standard kind of well, not slasher, but like your standard horror. Um, the acting was good. I love Patrick Wilson. I kind of wish he was in more. I think he's one of those actors. Seeing him in now both Insidious and in this movie, I do kind of wish he did a little bit more, because I feel like I've only really known him for this. I mean, I personally still say my favorite role of his is the Watchmen movie where he was Night Owl, but also everyone knows him as he's an Iron Man. I mean Aquaman. Sorry, yeah, he's Orm, he's a good villain, but I think he's gonna be fucking wasted in two. So I think that's like a waste of a performance. So interested to see where this franchise goes, though. I really did like this one. I like the atmosphere about it. I like the simplicity of it. It didn't rely on jump scares, which is nice. I always say, especially in like, because this was 2013, and that's when, unfortunately, a lot of horror relied on that. So it was kind of nice to see that they didn't rely on that. Um, the atmosphere is there. Like I said, it's a little bit of a slow burn. Like there's some points where it's more just dialogue than just. It's not like you see a lot of demon activity till like more until like the middle. You know, you have that opening, but then it kind of But yeah, I overall really like it. I'm interested to see where two goes. So, eight out. No, I'll give this one a nine. I liked it. So probably gonna watch. I'm definitely gonna watch it again. I'm watching two next Thursday, so I'm interested to see. Tomorrow, like I said, as of now, I'm gonna be doing Maniac Cop unless if Exorcist Believers up by tomorrow, like in the morning or something, then I'll be reviewing that tomorrow evening. But if not, I'll be doing Maniac Cop. Maniac Cop, I watched both of them. They were interesting movies, because this is actually Bruce Campbell's other slasher film. I like the concept, because cop is someone you can just trust, and he's this killer cop going around killing people. It's a slasher movie, this is the 80s, and it's not great. Like there's no lore around it. It's like your kind of basic kind of slasher, but it's still a fun one. Bruce Campbell's great in it. Fucking even fucking Tom. Fuck, I can't think of his name. Tom. He's in fucking. It'll come to me. I'm gonna fucking slap myself. I can't think of his name right now. He's in fucking the fall. He's in like Halloween 3. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Tom. I know his name is Tom something. I just can't think of it right now. But yeah, him. He's in it. Even he dies pretty early in it, but he's in it. Bruce Campbell's in it. He's also in the second one, so he's kind of like your main character in a way for the next two movies. So like I said, it's your standard 80s slasher. It's not special. Um, but anyway, guys. Tomorrow like I said, I'll be doing that. Saturday, most likely going to be doing that screenwriter article I was supposed to do last Saturday. And then Sunday, either if I don't do Exorcist tomorrow, I'll be doing that for sure Sunday, because I think we'll probably be watching that like Saturday or something. It'll definitely, I'm assuming, be up at least by Saturday. So anyway, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. to y'all later.